What's good, everyone? Welcome back to FaShaun. This is episode 26. Also, please excuse me, I have a little bit of a sore throat, as you will notice, but you know, life goes on. Today, we're going to be focusing on, as always, a do-it-all, a range beast that can go from casual to formal. Specifically today, we're going to be focusing on mules, and the one that I have here are the, if I can get this working, are the black leather, Our Legacy Camion boot mule, essentially, with this buckle here. Let's get into it. So here are the mules. I bought these vintage and they didn't come with the box, so sorry about that, but you can see them here. Fantastic silhouette, really cool design, that Scandinavian minimalistic design, but I wanted something just a little bit, I don't want to say flashy, but something with a little bit more design elements. So I wanted this one specifically because of the buckle and this strap here, just like the Camion boot. Says Our Legacy on the dust bag. This is a brass buckle. Full leather upper, full leather footbed, padded footbed, which is great for comfort. Vibram sole on the bottom here, and I believe this is made in Portugal. And these are brass buckles, which means that you can clean them. But I kind of like this like worn out look a little bit. Shows that it has some character. Sizing was really interesting. They fit a full size down on the mules. I'm a 42. These are a 41. They fit perfectly fine. I have a wide foot, so if you have a longer foot, definitely maybe go true to size. And you know, you're gonna be wearing socks with these sometimes, so maybe go a little bit like size down, but go 0.5 size down maybe. So that it fits you perfectly. But yeah, these are incredible. They're a do everything type of mule. Great for the summer when you want some more ventilation. You don't want your feet sort of in shoes and your feet start sweating and start getting smelly. So great way to kind of show off this elevated minimalist aesthetic while at the same time being comfortable. You know, going into it, for the description, essentially these are just a great set of mules. That's all they are. They're a do everything type of mule. I think the price for this is $725. Too expensive for what they are. This is in Canadian dollars, so a little bit cheaper for my UK and US friends. And it's essentially just the Camion boot that's been cut in half. I still get the buckle from the Camion, just in more of a mule and more simplistic colorway, especially with that sort of rounded toe box here. And that's about it. You know, same with the minimalist Scandinavian design. You have a minimalist sort of description for them. These are great, and I think they're the best mule on the market, in my opinion, in terms of design, and in terms of that sleekness, while at the same time, honestly, if you have some smart sweats, you can even rock this with sweatpants, like kind of like the Uniqlo U sweatpant that everybody seems to like, or Uniqlo C sweatpants that everybody seems to like these would work even with those. For the purchase rationale, why did I buy these? I bought them primarily because of their design. But secondarily, and I always say this with all my purchase rationales, buy vintage. It's more sustainable, sure, but you also get a better price. You know, times are tough nowadays, so we have to be smart with our money and smart with our purchases. And if you're looking for a do-it-all mule, this is kind of the one that you're probably going to settle in on, or maybe one from La Mer or Studio Nicholson or any other clog, really. And I paid $250 for these. Fairly good condition, just didn't have the box, just have the dust bag. But that's really all you need. And I wanted something that was sleek and formal while at the same time can be used more so casually in the summer as well. And it still looks pretty fantastic for a full range of outfits. Going over in the market analysis, as you know, we're going to go cheap, mid-level, and then expensive. And frankly, to get, maybe this is like sort of the magical sort of trifecta of design with quality and value. Excuse me. So it was kind of tough to do a market analysis on this. A lot of the A lot of the variations for this are kind of either on the cheaper end or they're on the more expensive end, but you know, we'll get into it. Starting off with cheap. So for cheap here, I don't like really looking into fast fashion, but this one is so on the nose that if I were to exclude it, I would feel like this video wouldn't really give you the information necessary to make an informed decision. But I have the Zara buckled Mule, pretty much a carbon copy of these or inspired by these. I will say it is a full leather upper, and you still get a similar vibe as these, just with more of that fast fashion kind of energy, which I don't really like, but they are less than $300, so they do count towards the cheap category. And you know, they're kind of just like a carbon copy of this. So if you want this while at the same time spending pretty much normal shoe prices, I have to say it, you might as well go with those. For the mid-level, I have something a little bit different. It was one of the only shoes that actually fit the mid-level, which is that $300 to kind of $700 range, which is the Toga Virilis Black Western Mules. You can get them around $400 to $500 new or cheaper on through vintage. Cool, different kind of vibe if you want a more of a Western mule with a lot of that same sort of the buckle with the different sort of hardware that Toga Virilis is known for. But again, I think that for the mid-level, these are $670 to $700, whatever they are. And I'd rather maybe you get this at the mid-level than the Togas. They're a great alternative depending on your style, depending on the fits that you're going to be rocking with them. But they're definitely cool, and the quality is up there. Again, if you want them, buy vintage. Lastly, we have the more expensive category, and for this one I love this brand. They are too expensive, but I love this brand. The Nemchenko Monk Strap Mule. Very similar vibe. This may be a combination, now that I think about it, of the Togas and of these, where you get a little bit of a Western vibe, but you still get the minimalism of the Scandinavian design of the Our Legacy Camion Mule. Really cool, high quality, something that nobody else would have if you were to rock. They are around $1,000 US, I believe, or $1,000 Canadian, either way. Very expensive for a pair of, you know, a silhouette that is not as versatile as a regular Derby or a regular Oxford, right? So you definitely, if you have the money, I'd go for them. If you really, really like the design and you want to go for those versus these or anything else on the market, would be kind of harder to find on a vintage or a second-hand front, maybe in Japan if you were to really search for them in all the different stores. But I think if I were to really recommend, out of all of the market analysis, like recommendations, I would definitely recommend a vintage pair of these. So we've gone through everything. We've gone through the description, the purchase rationale, and our market analysis. Let's go to my favorite part of the videos, and that is styling these. We have a vintage military scout hat, vintage knitted polo with a little bit of a 3/4 zip, the N Hollywood monk collar button up, CDG culottes, and the mules. Okay, here's the fit. All black. I wanted to go something simple with these, as usually people will rock these with all black. But you can definitely go colors, which we will talk about later. As you know, we're going to be styling everything according to my proprietary framework to style anything and everything, called FCP, or Fit, Contrast, and Proportion. Let's get into it. Starting off with fit, you kind of want things that fit a little bit loosely on you, not too tight that it loses structure, or not too loose where again that structure is lost and whatever the designer had hoped for that garment in terms of that structure is sort of lost in translation of the rest of the outfit. Find things that are comfortable but still adhere to the integrity of the garment. You kind of already know what fits well on you. It's easiest to get right, as I always say, even on the rack, like you can kind of tell. With this outfit here, very loose, nothing is sort of snagging here. Nothing is sort of a little bit too loose where it gets lost in translation. Very easy, very flowy, and kind of on trend with moving away from the skinny and slim into the more flowy, but again, it's all cyclical, so just rock whatever you want. In terms of fit, But when it comes to this, the thing to really watch out for is what did the designer, in your opinion, have in mind for this garment? How should it fit and flow on your body? Next, we have contrast. So there's contrast in colors and contrast in textures. The golden rule with this is always to complete the circle, as I always say. So if you have one color on your body, you should have another color, another garment on your body of the same color to complete the circle, just to show flow throughout the entirety of the outfit. Very easy with this one. It is all black with some white, but I'll still break it down for you anyway. So black on the hat, black on this button up here, completed the circle already, but really black on this knitted polo, black on the mules, on these culottes, and then white on the socks, white here on the collar, complete the circle on white as well, so everything has that flow and harmony. Next, we have contrast and textures. I always say, like, this is more of a nitpicky kind of thing, but if you want to take your outfit from an 8 or 9 out of 10 to really that 10 out of 10, you should probably match textures as well. So they go low, medium, and high pile textures for anything of fabric. For leather, we have leather here on the mules. You can add in a leather belt. There's leather on the sides as well of this hat, which you probably can't see. As well as like silver hardware here, silver hardware usually on my rings. I'm just not wearing them for the purposes of the video. Silver hardware on the mules as well, so you complete the circle on those ends. But really, what you want to do is, if you have small, a low pile, have something else low pile on your body as well. If you have something high pile, you're gonna definitely need to contrast something elsewhere on your body with high pile, because it's gonna attract too much attention to that one high pile furry item and not to the rest of your outfit. I always say that outfits are greater than the sum of their parts, so everything should stand out individually and together in a cohesive way versus just one thing, and that would kind of detract away from that. Another thing I always say is, if somebody's booking your outfit, they only have 2 seconds to look at you on the sidewalk as they pass by you. It should be the entirety of the outfit, not just one thing. Lastly, we have proportion. Proportion is the hardest to get right. In this instance, I have leveraged the triangle proportion. You can see wider here at the base as it goes up, 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 up to a point with my hat. I've also elongated my proportion with this hat on purpose to just give me a sort of a taller appearance, while at the same time leveraging a shape that is well known for humans. So you can do triangles. In the summers, you can do inverted triangles as well, so to get shorts with these, which I can do for another video, so you can leverage that. Hourglass proportion if you want to be a little bit more flirtatious. And you can do rectangles and squares for a bit more fashion forward. This is more of a triangular rectangle because it's a little bit wider from the base to the midpoint of the triangle, but still elongated at the top there. So you really want to leverage these sort of 2D shapes that you probably saw in geometry class to really, I guess, put together everything in such a way that is intuitive for other people to understand. Alright guys, that's it for the Camion Our Legacy mules. Hope you learned something today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.